Hey guys, it's Alyssa from AlyssaNalani.com. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the fifth and final in our series called Build a Better Year 2021. We are picking up right where we left off by covering the sixth and final topic in our series, which is all about choosing a word and a verse for the year. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and review the topics that we have covered so far. In the first video, we went over two exercises. We did the year in review exercise and the consider your life exercise. And those helped us to review 2020 and to consider how we feel about it, how it affected us, what we got done, what didn't go quite so well, all of those different things. It was a series of questions that we went through. And then in the second exercise, the consider your life exercise, we talked about our life in the big picture, our lives in the big picture. What is the sort of bird's eye view look at our lives? What is the wide angle look of our lives? And we asked some questions in that vein. So that was the first video. The second video we did was all about doing a brain dump. How do you do a brain dump, the benefits of doing a brain dump, and how to process the information from a brain dump and how we can use it. The third video was all about seasons and priorities. So we took some time to name the season we were in. The season that we're currently in, not the one that we wish we were in, not the one we would prefer, not the one that we think might be coming up, or the one that we think other people think we should live, but the season that is actually our reality right now. And then we took that information and then decided what our priorities should be. And then from there, we made resolutions and set goals. This was video number 4, and I talked a little bit about how resolutions are often not specific or actionable. They are too broad or too vague and really don't tell us how we're supposed to move forward and make progress. And so I suggested that we make resolution statements. And a resolution statement tells us what we are resolved to pursue or to accomplish or complete. And they also tell us why we are resolved to do whatever it is that we want to set out and do. And so from there, we took our resolution statements and then made goals that would help us to meet those things that we want to do. So if we're wanting to get healthy, we made a resolution statement about our health and then made actionable goals that had to do with our health, like drinking more water or exercising and so on and so forth. So we covered a lot of ground there. And then today we're going to be talking about taking all of that information, all of that work that we've done, and take all of that that desire or those dreams and desires we have to pursue good things next year. We're going to take all of that and we're going to encapsulate it in one word. So that's what we're going to talk about in this next video. But I just wanted to encourage you, if you have not yet watched any of those videos, I highly encourage you to get caught up on those first 4 so that whatever I talk about in this video will make more complete sense. So you'll find all of those linked down in the description box below, as well as the blog post where you can find this companion guide that I've been going through. This is just a free guide that I put together. It's basically the written version of what I wanted to cover in each of these videos. And you can find it for free. It's a free download. You don't have to do anything. Just go to the blog post, download the file, and you can print it off and work through the series if you haven't been doing so yet. So 6 topics, 5 videos, and we are here to wrap this up with our final topic. So let's talk about our word of the year. Now, if you haven't yet done a word of the year, I am here to encourage you to make 2021 the first time you do a word of the year. Now, I have to say, it's not necessarily for everybody. Not everybody finds joy or finds this to be a useful thing. I personally do, so I'm definitely going to evangelize the word of the year. But if it's not something that you kind of are drawn to or feel the desire to do, that's okay. I'm going to show you the benefits of why I think it's helpful, and then kind of walk you through the process. But if it's not for you, that's totally fine. No judgment, no shame. All right, so a word of the year really is a tool that you can use to help you stay centered and focused throughout the year. It is a focal point that you can use to help you stay motivated and rightly challenged to keep pursuing the things that you set out to pursue at the beginning of the year, even when the going gets tough. Even when you don't feel like going to the gym anymore, you can think about your word of the year and remember, this is important to me. This is why it's important to me. This is why I've decided to do this hard thing. When you are in the middle of the workday and it's a long day and you've got a headache and you're tired and your lunch is wearing off already, and you need a break, this is a word that you can kind of pull out and remember and think, this is why I'm working hard. This is what matters to me. These are the people that matter to me. And this is what it means for me to be at this job and do these things. When it is the middle of the year and you're thinking, I don't even know why I set those goals, you can use the word to evaluate, is this still important to me? If so, then I need to keep pushing and keep working towards my goals. You can even use it to kind of gauge whether or not the season has changed and whether you might need to shift gears. Maybe this isn't working for you because it doesn't need to work, in the same way anymore. Maybe the season has changed, your priorities have shifted, and you need to go back to the drawing board and figure something else out. It's a focal point that you can use to gauge what's going on, to gauge where your motivation is, and to evaluate how you need to keep moving forward, whether it's the same way you've been going or whether you need to change some things up. So I wrote about that in the first page of section 6. But really, I just want to encourage you to think about all of the work that you've done so far and to think about all of the things that make you excited for a new year and try to find words that match that encapsulate that represent that you will feel motivated and inspired to think about throughout 2021. And so on the second page, it's kind of blank. I mean, it's blank, it's not lined or anything, but faintly you can see it says word of the year ideas on the side here. And I just want you to jot out words. Don't edit yourself. Don't think, oh, that's stupid, or somebody else has that, or that doesn't seem right. Just jot out words. Any words that come to your mind. Brave, cool, I'm not really thinking, grace, simplicity, focus, motivation, I don't know, I'm not, if I was writing it down, I would be able to do this better, but just anything that comes out, and it's gonna come out imperfectly, like the way it just came out of my mouth, but just let all of the ideas and all the words onto the paper, kind of like a brain dump. You don't even have to write just single words, you can write thoughts. What is coming to your mind now when you're thinking about 2021? What do you want it to feel like? When you are when you're feeling your best, think about how that feels to feel at your best. What kind of influences your mood? Do you think of favorite songs? That's immediately where my mind goes. I think of different song lyrics that really make me feel inspired or motivated or challenged. I think about different verses of the Bible. That's where I came up with my word for 2021. I think about maybe passages in a book I read or some part of a conversation I had. Just let all the thoughts flow and jot down the words that come to mind. Again, you're not looking for perfection on this page. This is a brainstorming page. And for all of you perfectionists out there, I can say that because I'm one of them. For all of you perfectionists out there, don't edit yourself. Just let it flow on the page. I cannot stress that enough because I know what that's like. To think, oh, I need to write like a straight line, like bullet pointed out. No, just write down words. It's okay. It's okay to be messy. So once you write down your words, I'm trying to adjust myself here because my leg is falling asleep. Once you write down words, then I want you to, now you can do this a couple different ways, and I didn't necessarily write it here in the guide. I should have, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time. If you need to sit with it for several hours, a day, whatever, then that's fine, sit on it. If you need to write a few, like maybe you have 5 contenders for the spot. Maybe you need to write them on an index card and carry them around with you or something like that. Maybe you need to say it a couple of times. Maybe you need to, if it came from a song, maybe you need to play that song and think about, is this kind of the direction I need to go in? Play around with it, sit with it, let it marinate a little bit before you decide. Now, here's the thing about the word of the year. You are not married to it. You do not have to commit to it forever. If you get to January 7 right? January 7, 2021, you're like, no, this word isn't working. I found a better one. You can totally ditch your first choice and go to a different one. This is not a relationship that needs to be permanent. You can absolutely ditch one for another one that works better later on in the year. You can also do this. You can take this a little bit further and choose a word of the month, a word of the week, a word of the day, even a word of the quarter. These are just tools that you can use to help you stay focused and centered and motivated to do the things that you need to do. Okay, so have fun with this. I think it's a useful tool. I think it's something that is helpful to keep in mind, to write in your journal or write in your planner or whatever. But not everybody feels that way about it. So again, if it's not for you, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. All right, next order of business, or the last order of business, is to choose a Bible verse to pair with your word of the year. So because you saw, maybe you read ahead or anything like that, because you might have seen word and verse, maybe you could think about it like that. So when you're choosing your word of the year, maybe think of a verse that can go along with it. But in any case, think of a Bible verse. Of course, this is if you're a Christian and the Bible is important to you. Think of a Bible verse that you can pair with your word. Now, my word of this year came from a Bible verse, so this was totally easy for me. This was not a problem. It came very naturally for me. For you, you might have to Google it. Just like if your word is something that is actually in the Bible, or the theme of it or a synonym of it is in the Bible, then Google it and find verses that relate to your word of the year. For me, because it came straight from it, I was able to jot down my verse pretty easily. And let me just share it with you. Well, I guess I have to share my word of the year since I'm about to share my verse of the year. Actually, no, let me do it the other way around. Let me read my verses of the year. It's Psalm 57, verses 7 and 9. And it says, "My heart is steadfast, O God, my heart is steadfast. I will sing and make melody. Awake, my glory. Awake, O harp and lyre. I will awake in the dawn. I will give thanks to you, O Lord, among the peoples. I will sing praises to you among the nations." So those are my verses for the year. That's my passage for the year, if you will. It can be more than one verse. This is 7, 8, and 9. So 3 verses. Can you guess what my word of the year is? There are a few really good ones in there. My word this year is steadfast. These are my power sheets. I inked my word of the year, in my power sheets a little while ago, and I'm so excited. Steadfast is my word of the year for 2021. Now in power sheets, if you have power sheets, it asks you why you chose your word of the year. I have this cough that's just sitting right here and it wants to come out, but we're not gonna let it come out. And I'm gonna ask you the same question: why are you choosing your word of the year? I didn't have that in the companion guide, but if you wanna journal that somewhere, or maybe on the back of one of the pages or on the ideas page, just write down why you chose your word to be your word for 2021. Why is that word important to you? Why is that going to be your focus, your focal point, your center, your getting back on track tool? And so I invite you to do that, to kind of think about why your word is important to you as you are going through and choosing your word and your verse. These are just, like, this whole series has just been a set of tools. There's no one perfectly right way to set goals. Each one of us has different lives. Each one of us has a different set of needs. And so if anything I've said has felt like, no, that's not really for me, check that. Make sure that you're not just dismissing something that could potentially be useful because you're not quite sure how to use it or how to frame it or whatever. But some things I said could legitimately not be for you right now in this season. Like I said way at the beginning of the series, and I'm going to repeat it again, I'm going to close with this. If you need time to decompress, to grieve, to evaluate, to figure out what direction you're going in at all, more so than what I've covered in this process, then take that time. be gentle with yourself. Don't allow anything to overwhelm you in a time where overwhelm is the very, very last thing you need right now. I want to encourage you to take care of yourself, take care of your people, and be gentle with a process that's like this. Don't get overwhelmed by what everybody else is doing. Don't allow yourself to do that, because you need to take care of what you have right in front of you. And so I'm just going to encourage you, like, take everything with a grain of salt. If it's this process or another goal setting process, use whatever tools you need to help you get set up in a healthy way for January 1st. Laura Casey, who is the creator of Power Sheets, tells us that January 1st is not a magic number. We don't have to wait until January 1st to make change. We don't have to wait until January 1st to change lives. In fact, you might be watching this after the start of 2021. You might be watching this in the middle of 2021. That is totally fine. It's not a magic number. It's a useful number. Like, a lot of us like the number to have that fresh start and that fresh season and a new 365 days to use and to work in, but it's not a magic number. So whenever you're watching this, if January 1st feels like it's too overwhelming to get everything figured out before then, take your time. Do what you need to do. Take your time. If you're watching this at some point in the middle of the year or of any year, do what you need to do. Take that time to reevaluate, to reconsider what is important, but make sure that you're making intentional decisions, that you are understanding what your priorities are, that you know what season you are in and you know what you need, that you make time and make space to do a brain dump, to write things down, to figure out what needs to be done now, what can be put off until later. These exercises are tools to just help you to live well and to stay focused, which is something that I'm pursuing as best as I can in my own life, and I hope that I can help you along the way. If you guys have any questions, you know where to find me. You can leave a comment below. You can send me a DM on Instagram, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching this series. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know. Okay, let's do this. In the comments below, drop your word of the year. If you've chosen it, drop your word of the year. If you don't have one yet, then what you can do is drop one of the goals or one of your resolutions or goals. It doesn't have to be that, it's not that deep, Alyssa. Drop a goal or a resolution or your word of the year in the comments. Let me know what you want to work on next year. I would love to see what you've got going on. But anyway, thanks for watching. I will talk to you all in the next video, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.